Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all on our session that is Prisma Learning Bits. Today's topic is on digital transformation. Now, before we start, we'll tell you something about Prisma trainings and consultancy. We are a good decade organization and focusing purely into the corporate trainings, transforming people onto the soft skills, behavioral, and the quality element. We are into the human process intervention and having an academy in Solon and training 280 students. So that's the credibility to ourselves. We have been into the research also, and with the research we have got our own philosophy which is called Prisma philosophy. Prisma actually turned out to be an acronym which is nothing but prepare, respect, implement, share, and maintain. So with this note, I really welcome you all. Our today's session would be taken by Ms. Soma Arora. She is a highly versatile trainer, come a academician. And before we take it forward, a small snippet about the today's session into the hygiene element. Request all of you to put yourself into the mute mode, and also please request to use the chat box for the activities that we plan for you. So, with a warm welcome, we all know that digital transformation is the cultural, organization, and operational change of an organization in an industry. And it says it's an ecosystem through a smart integration of technological approach. It works with the processes, competencies across all levels and function. The beautiful thing is it leverages technologies to create value for various stakeholders, innovate and acquire the capabilities to rapidly adapt to changing circumstances. Now, they say it's not just about disruption or technology, it's about value, people, optimization, and the capability to rapidly adapt when such is needed through an intelligent use of technologies and information. Now, I was going through one study, and in that recent research from IDC, it predicted that by 2023, more than half of the worldwide GDP is predicted to be driven by products and services from digitally transformed industries. Now, they say that there are various drivers, but a couple of drivers I would like to highlight upon, which is pushing this, is one on the age of innovation, which is driving the future enterprises. Accelerated disruptions, organization will continue to maximize data value. Intelligence is everywhere, driven by artificial intelligence, which are opportunity and implications, and definitely rising customers' expectations. So, with this note, digital transformation is on everyone's lip. With this, I welcome you all on the session of Prisma. You already know me, your moderator. I, Anubha Maurya, having a good 20 years of experience with working with a great blue chip organization. More than that, let me take the opportunity to introduce Dr. Soma Arora. Soma, I think I'll take this liberty to tell you only to please introduce yourself. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Anubha. Thank you so much. It was a lovely, lovely way of putting together what is digital transformation. She has introduced the topic, and a very warm welcome. Good morning to all the participants who have taken your valuable time to join us. I really, really welcome you to this session on digital transformation. So, a small little background on myself. I'm Dr. Soma Arora. I've been engaged with academics for a very long time, but at the same time, I've been doing corporate training. And digital transformation is the need of the hour. Like she has said, that we really, really need to get on with this. Every organization needs to kind of embrace digital transformation to stay alive, to survive, right? So we start today's presentation. We'll try to keep it as interactive as with all of you. We want all of you to participate, all of you to come forward, share your views, and from time to time use the chat box so that we can interact and convey your opinion, right? So we start with the basic question: what is digital transformation? Now, we would request you here to use the chat box a little and therefore write in words you can, which you have read somewhere, probably on LinkedIn or wherever, and you see that, okay, this is what digital transformation means to you. So can we have a little bit of response from your side? It will be lovely to see the chat box and see what we have got from your side.
All right. So I request the audience to please share what do you really mean by digital transformation? So please use
Yeah.
the chat box and pen it down. Okay, so
Yes.
I got first response, which is virtual interface interaction. That's a beautiful thought.
Right.
Very thing on IoT, using Internet of Things by DV. Change in technology, transferring information, money via digital media. That's another response.
Okay, lovely. So this is how we start our work. There is technology, there is internet, there is money, right? Okay, so and they were also have making right use, manual to driving business. Excellent. So let's start from here. So see, I've put down some of these thoughts together, which you have shared. So you say, let's have it's change, it's online, that is technology which is driven by internet. There is something to do with your change which is happening. There's social media, which you have not mentioned, but yes, it is part of it. Business model is very much part of it. Innovation, you have mentioned, so innovation is part of it. And how is it different from digital marketing? And how is it different from social media marketing? Now, that's very important because people assume that digital transformation means it is, oh, it is another digital marketing class. Oh, it's another social media marketing class. But unfortunately, it is not. It is all of the above. That means when I confirm digital marketing, social media marketing, I combine it with a business model, I combine it with innovative processes, I combine it with online, that is internet, then I get something which is digital transformation. So we need to kind of piece together, these elements to finally come to what is digital transformation. So we proceed from here. So let's see what is the difference. Digital marketing is a tactical exercise. By what do we mean by tactical? A tactical means we have got a website, we have got a sell portal, like somebody here said, buy and sell. There is commerce, e-commerce, which is involved. There is auction, there is entertainment. That is digital marketing. What is social media marketing? It is a platform-centric marketing tool. So we have got core processes, we have got advertising campaigns which are run in various forms, like we have got posts, we have got stories, we have got tweets, which are messages on the online platform. So that is what digital marketing and social media marketing is. But digital transformation is a strategic exercise. It is not tactical. So we have to differentiate in the beginning and understand that if we execute something which is on a tactical platform based marketing issue, then it becomes digital marketing or social media, depending on the platform. And if we say that it is a strategic concern for the entire organization, then we call it digital transformation. So beginning from here, we see how we initiate this company wide change. Okay, so for example, first we share a few changes which has happened in an environment. It gives us a perspective, easy for us to understand. So let's see online grocery system, and we see that yes, we have got something like milk basket, which is delivering, milk and bread to us every morning. We also have something like grofers, which is giving us groceries and fruits and breads and other kinds of items to us every day. Now, this is a transformation, right? This is a change which has happened. But to us, that is to the layman and to the people who are consuming this, it is a portal. It is nothing but an app, right, on a mobile. Or it is something like an exercise on the internet which has happened and we have ordered the online groceries and got it. What for us as the back end, that means as the marketeers, what we need to understand is where we have tweaked the business model. Because if it is a business model which has been innovated, which has been tweaked, then we will get profit out of it, right? So we have to come to those issues a little later. So first, let's see what examples we can tinker around with. Then we have got examples of C2C sales, like everybody knows OLX. So OLX C2C, for those who are new to marketing, C2C is customer to customer. So earlier we had B2C, that is business to customer. Then we had B2B, which is business to business. Now we have got C2C, that is customer selling to customer. Many of you have heard of OLX, but you wouldn't have heard of something called dopahiya.com. This is a very, very new initiative where people are sending their two-wheelers. They used second-hand two-wheelers which are sold on dopahiya.com. Excellent initiative for small tier 2, tier 3 cities, right? Indian initiative. OLX is a Western initiative, but dopahiya is an Indian initiative. Then we have got something like an aggregator service. Now, an aggregator service is when we have taken the services of, let us say, A, B, C different business models and put them together, like we've got makemytrip.com. So what do we do on makemytrip.com? It's a booking site, right? So we book a hotel, or we book tickets for flights, or we book kind of taxi services, etc. So we have got somebody which is giving us airlines, somebody giving us hotels, somebody giving us taxi service. What does Make My Trip do? Make My Trip is putting all the three services together and giving you one package. And for that, he's got a commission, he's got a charge. And for you as a customer, you think that, is it beneficial for me to kind of go for this service? Can I book directly on my own? Sometimes you think, no, no, it's too much of a pain. So let Make My Trip do the whole booking. So you give Make My Trip the charge, and Make My Trip makes the entire booking for you. That is hotel. Now you will tell me that, okay, this is nothing but a booking service, right? So this is a booking service because you are paying a commission, you're paying a charge, and you're getting all the service for that. So this is where we need to understand that to arrive at this kind of an aggregator service, what kind of change has to go behind? What is the back-end information we are using? What is the kind of marketing issues which we are exploring, which is resulting in this kind of change? Because if I twist the table and I say, okay, now it's your turn to think of a particular change which you can initiate, then kind of the going gets tough. The thinking becomes a little tough, right? So these are some examples we start with, and then we see how we can proceed with digital transformation. So the change happens here. The main the main area of your focus will be a business model. Now everybody in business would know that a business model has to generate profit. So this is a very basic equation which all of us are familiar with. That means any participant in a commerce venture has to have profit, which is equal to revenue minus cost, right? So whether it is Milk Basket delivering bread, or it is your local kirana wala giving you the bread, this profit equation has to be there, right? But what is new, which I am introducing, is this. I'm introducing a word called structural opportunity, and I'm introducing level of innovation by the leading players. What I'm trying to say is that if you need a business model in a digital transformation manner, you need to identify structural opportunity in the system. Structural opportunity goes beyond business opportunity. See, a business opportunity is the brass tacks. That means that's a profit, right? Structural opportunity is a little higher. We are looking at level of innovation which can be infused into a business opportunity to make structural changes in the ecosystem. Now, this is something easier said than done, because everybody has got his own way of running his business. Like I said, the local kirana guy is making a profit, right? And he's running his own business, delivering milk and bread. But yet, somebody like Milk Basket with an online application, with a convenience based model, with better convenience, is coming up to you and is delivering. So, there is something which is more than a business opportunity utilization. There is a level of innovation which is involved. And this level of innovation has changed, made certain structural changes in the ecosystem, right? So, let us see how this business model and the framework for structural opportunity exists. For example, now I'm sharing some examples with you. Say e-shops, e-malls, e-procurement, e-auction, virtual communities, collaboration platforms, third party marketplace, value chain service providers. All this I'm sharing. What are these? These are various kinds of e-commerce opportunities in front of you, right? They are very simply, that means you have seen what are e-shops, like Myntra is there, Jabong is there. You have seen e-malls, which are hyper marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkart. You have seen e-procurement sites where you are going and purchasing for your companies. You have seen all these various models working for you day in and day out in some form. But what is the most important thing which has changed over a period of time? Now, mark my words, what is the most important thing is called, in quotes, intermediation. What is intermediation? Intermediation is where we have changed the role of the intermediaries. Now, intermediaries are basically who? The middlemen, the wholesalers, the retailers who are performing their task of transporting goods, providing value addition services, stocking the goods, taking responsibility, doing all this. Now, the role over here at each stage, wherever we are planning these platforms which are there in front of you, the role of the intermediation has changed slightly. Somewhere we have tweaked his role, somewhere we have taken away the intermediary completely. So that is known as de-intermediation. Somewhere we have reintroduced him in a different form and we have called it re-intermediation. So different kinds of intermediaries have been used in these formats to lend innovation to a typical age-old process of, let's say, doing business. Because after all, what we are doing, after all, we are all selling goods, right? We are selling goods either in the physical form, or we are selling goods on a portal. Now, whether the portal occupies the place of an auction mall, or it is a procurement mall, but ultimately it's a B2B sale or a B2C sale. What is important is how the role of stocking, how the role of taking initiative, how the role of selling the retail front end has changed. So that's how the framework of structural opportunity versus level of innovation has come in. So I have introduced a small element over here of intermediation. So how you can now see that the role of the intermediary can completely change a particular business model, introducing structural opportunity or introducing the level of innovation, right? So in this manner, if we look at other kind of situations, we will do so as we proceed, we will see that probably the role changes. Now, if that scares you, then the question becomes where to start the process. Where to start the process of digital transformation. So is it that intermediation is an external framework, right? Because it's come from outside, the wholesaler, the middleman, he's outside your company, right? So where to start? The start process is a culture. Why culture? Now, we are saying that normally, specifically in the Indian setup, the concept of experimentation is very low with the Indian audience, with the Indian business houses. We need to set up a culture of a low cost experimentation. Low cost means we have to agree that in all kinds of transformation exercises, there will be a certain rate of failure. Because if we are starting even with the milk basket model, we are all aware that milk basket used to give us free deliveries for the initial months. They did not charge us anything. But after the initial 6 months was over, they started charging us a small monthly fee of 69 rupees, 70 rupees only in order to provide you your daily thing. But I know personally that many people backed out of milk basket deliveries the moment they're charging the fee. So what they did, again after a month, they initiated a new concept in which they said that now you give me an initial startup fund and then I will deliver free. So what I'm saying is the models of digital transformation are not easy to validate. They're not easy to explore because you're making changes in the existing setup. So a low cost experimentation, little bit of losses here and there, tweaking the model, testing the model, this kind of cultural changes need to be there in the organization. If we are too stereotyped and we say that we cannot experiment at all, it is difficult to transform. Okay. Second, we are looking at core operations which can be eliminated or reduced. That means processes which are restricting us, which is putting us in silos. So we have got certain processes, like you say, in the market where we are working in silos, compartments. Okay, so we say marketing will not interact with HR will not interact with production. So that is working in silos. That will not work. We need an integrated system. Okay, so legacy systems means things which have been passed on since ages, they have to go. Those processes which are not helping us anyway to reduce the cost or add value, they have to be eliminated. A very simple thing, like you saw in the low frill budget airlines, like when Indigo was launched or was Spicejet, what did they do away with? They did away with the frills. They said we are not going to provide you free meals over there, pay for your own meals. They did away with certain other frills which were like the extra effort which the crew made to make you comfortable. So, and these low cost airlines were very successful because they could actually give you a lot of mileage in terms of money. So when you earned a lot of out of your money, the value for money equation was there, people went for the budget airline. So they simply eliminated certain processes which had become redundant, which had become like not required for most of the audience, right? So core operations need to be reviewed. And finally, we need to develop a new market offering. That means it has to be something different from what we have. So the level of innovation is important. So I would like to once again revisit those two words, structural opportunity and level of innovation. If we can integrate those two into our existing business model, come up with a new market offering, then probably we have started the process of digital transformation, right? So this is where I would like to now ask if the audience has got any questions or any kind of interaction, they can please share before we proceed further. If there is anything, would you like to say? Or if
Any
the chat
query, any question from the audience?
no, okay, so we proceed. So we start with digital. Now we come to what is social media and what is digital marketing. See, what is happening is that when we are looking at social media marketing or digital media marketing, we are looking at these platforms. And these platforms are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, which everybody in the audience has used. Instagram, of course, is a new platform for us to use in India, but Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everybody is using for a long, long time, right? So let's see what they do. Let's see what is Instagram all about, or what is your other social media. Facebook is the most preferred platform. This was the first choice right away, but of late, Facebook is facing a little bit of decline. It is kind of declining its market share and giving way to Instagram. So Instagram is becoming more popular in 2020. Some figures and stats are in front of you. Facebook has dropped from 67% in 2018. So now in 2020, people are preferring to use Instagram. It's the hottest. So 76% of marketers are using Instagram. It has become the second most important social platform for marketing behind Facebook. A significant 67% is planning on increasing their organic activity. So here we come to the issue, what is organic activity? Why do we use the word organic activity for here? Now, right now we have to make a distinction for those who are new to the area of social media. Organic is when we are looking at non-paid activities. We can simply use the social media for our businesses without paying for any advertisement, without paying for any kind of banners or anything. Now, this entire presentation we are making today is on organic. That means we are not talking of any paid media activities. We are all looking at how we can increase our viewership, increase our work. Before we do that, a small look at the stats once again. So for those who are using Facebook, good news, 94% continues in 2020, followed by Instagram at 73, and thereafter Twitter, LinkedIn, which are more professional sites, and YouTube is important for us as 54. So the figures we are looking at is 94, 73, and 54, which is of interest to us as business users. B2C marketers specifically, that means if you're into the retail business where you're selling apparel, clothes, groceries, and these kind of things, for your Facebook and Instagram is very important. And B2B markets, that means those who are selling things to other organizations in institutional sales, for them, again, LinkedIn is important, Twitter is important, Instagram's at 66%, right? It is understood most of the time that B2B marketers may not be using a lot of videos for their campaigns, but they've got other methods to connect, whereas B2C marketers will be using a lot of videos, right? Now, Instagram has got 700 million users who are using 300 million. So that's a general quote for all Instagram users. Now, what does Instagram do? So Instagram basically has got following objectives. Number one, creating awareness about your brand, showcasing your product or services, building a community, showcasing company culture. Now, those who are in marketing and in this audience would agree with point number 1, 2, 4, and 5, because they have been doing that. Any advertising campaign you have run so far would be talking about these four things, right? But what is building a community? I mean, is it building a community means what? We bring together people of same thoughts, or do we bring together people with different thoughts? See, it can be anything. What is important is that when I read a particular post or I see a video, I am encouraged enough to talk about it. Now, whether I'm talking to a person who is of my community, not my community, or he likes the product, he does not like the product, that's a secondary issue. If I see a post and I feel encouraged, I feel enthusiastic enough to talk about it, to share it, to tag a friend, to make a comment on it, then at least I've started the process of reaction, right? And if that process of reaction is going to continue, that means from one person to the other, then slowly we are adding people to that particular thought, right? And this is how slowly people who are of the same thought, they will start congregating and building a community. So this is the whole idea of building a community. This is the central theme of your digital marketing. The whole digital marketing pyramid, rests on the central theme of building a community. Yes, Anubhav. Yes.
Yes, so,
Yes.
so we have got one
Yeah.
question from
Okay.
Vikrant Katoch. He is asking
Yes.
how to identify target group change behavior over acceptance level of change.
Target group change behavior over acceptance,
Acceptance level of change.
over acceptance level of change.
Yes.
Target group behavior. The question is very well taken. like we have got all marketing exercises, which start with a target group identification. Just like that, even in case of our social and digital media, we of course do take into consider a target group identification. That means before I start any campaign on my Instagram or on the Facebook, I definitely do a TG profile. That means TG profiling means we definitely look at how people, which is the target population for my target group. Just the same way as we do a marketing exercise, the very similar way we definitely go for a target group identification. Now, if I understand the question correctly, then probably what you're looking at is you're looking at what is the level of acceptance and change post that particular campaign. That means after you have introduced the campaign, has there been a change in the behavior, a change in the acceptance? Very well taken. Here we introduce the metrics concept. Metrics concept is basically that how we use social media metrics to look at sentiment reaction, how we look at social media metrics for awareness. We have got separate metrics. Those metrics are measuring awareness. The metrics is measuring sentiment reaction. The metrics is also measuring brand awareness. So those metrics are taking care of how this acceptance is being undertaken in the, since this is a kind of a basic course or basic introduction to our digital exercise. We have already planned, future exercises where we are talking about social media metrics in a very detailed form, and there your question gets answered parameter by parameter. That is what, how to map the acceptance of the consumer with respect to changes. Very very good question, sir. Because yes, yeah, this kind of parametric changes which are happening, that means whether the consumer has reacted to my post, and that reacted or the acceptance of that particular product is very interesting. And we use certain criteria like how many visits to the site, what kind of visits, number of time you have spent over there. All those things are there in the matrices which cover this particular question. Very nice. Now we're coming to building a community. So building a community, like we have shared, is all about how we put together, of course, these people. That means slowly people come together and they start talking. Now, for Instagram specifically, we are spending a little time on Instagram because we are trying to highlight some of the benefits of Insta over here. So that's why in Insta, the content strategy, a product is the hero. The example I've given you is Nike shoes. Now, suppose Nike shoes is fixed on a particular video which is showing a person running with Nike shoes on, then you are making product the hero. That means Nike shoes is the hero of your particular video. The focus is on the product. Or B, the user is the hero. Now here we are using stories. Now here what we are doing is we give the handle for brand awareness to the consumer. When I say user is the hero, it means my focus is not on the product. My focus is on the user who will glorify my product. Okay. Say, for example, in the Nike case, if I am a Nike user, I'm using Nike shoes. The idea is not to promote Nike shoes directly, but idea is that if you are a Nike shoes user, what did you find which is good about you? So there you start sharing your stories of Nike. That is how you make user the hero. This is an excellent way of promoting products on Instagram, because here what we have is we are all, basically all human beings love to talk about themselves, right? And so if you get a platform which allows you to, talk about your product or talk about the service, we are very happy, right? So that's what we do. If we get the handle, that means we get the microphone in our hands, we start talking. So we, in Instagram, in Facebook, we give you that handle. We say, now you talk about the product usage, you talk about the company which you have used, or you talk about the brand, and people are very happy sharing their stories. Once we share that stories, the hashtag, it goes on increasing, then we get a huge community, huge fan following, followership, and then our job is done. That means we have been able to sell our product, right? So that is a second methodology. The other is the content themes. Now this is again for those who are new. That means these are the contents which we can use. We can talk about user generated content, which we just shared. We can talk about product showcasing. We can talk about company culture, customer testimonials like reviews, where in quotes, life hacks, contests, and other kinds of motivational things. These are all the themes which you can use to promote your product on the Insta. Now, hashtags, as many people would be knowing, but still it is better for us to use hashtags. See, hashtags are basically used so that out of all the various posts which are continuously coming on the feed, at least your hashtags will help you to filter to specifically your kind of product usage. So we will have your kind of product usage which will work which will filter to those specific users. That will be like without hashtags, you're like swimming in a million of posts. So there's a million of posts out there, and there your product and service is swimming in them. So the more hashtags you add, easier for the consumer to search for very specific kind of products which you are selling. So that's a very, very brief idea. Now we quickly come to a small activity in which I invite Anubha to kind of help us with the thing. You are requested basically to visit the Prism page, or rather, Anubha will help us with the Prism page, which is the Instagram page. And over there, you will see some of the posts which Prism has done till April 6th, which is on this learning bits. Which is the activity which Prism is doing, the learning bits in May. So I think Anubha can share now with
Yes.
this.
So I have already
Yeah,
shared everyone on the chat box. I have shared
yeah.
the Facebook link also, as well as Instagram page. So if you have Facebook account, please use Facebook, or else if you have Insta account, you can use Insta. And then request to just go through the the link. I've just
These are all the, yeah, you will see some posts over there. The post will talk about virtual trainers.
checked.
There will be some posts which are talking about Anubha herself for doing something for Faridabad Management Association. There will be some more posts about specifically the trainers topics, which are having the pictures and the videos. There are several such posts goes down right up to April 6th, probably, where they have started the planning exercise for learning bits in May. Now, out of all those posts, you will see there are some which stand out and some which are really good for selling this activity, and some which you may not like. So, we would like you to share your reasons on the chat box as to which one you like. So, then we can have a small discussion.
So I would again request what Shoma shared right now. Please visit this site and just share in the chat box which particular image you have liked. So it will really help us to know further more about it. Take a minute. Okay, so I got one response. The China, the
Hmm.
training which we were doing for China. Thank you so much, Vikram.
Okay.
In fact, yes, China we have been training from now almost a month. Thank you.
Give you a few minutes to just take your time.
If you need any support, you can use the chat box and ask, or else you can unmute yourself. We're really keen to know your reason of liking one particular post or not liking a particular post. Okay, so Sonali mentioned the space management is one. Okay, thank you so much, Sonali. Um,
Since we
so
all in
Anubha Walia herself is a brand. We like
Very
her
nice.
very much. Thank you
Very
so
nice.
much. So Sonali says, so since we all are in lockdown, we
The spiritual manner, one could be the other activity oriented or self revelation manner, and my area, which is more like digital or technology driven manner, which is business oriented manner. So all these things are coming together to say that how we can come out of COVID, how we can come out of the crisis. Very nice. So now you can see therefore that the Instagram posts are actually converging towards a theme which is coming out of COVID or crisis related issue. Similarly, for Facebook marketing, just as we have seen for Instagram, you keep a roadmap in your mind. That means you have got a plan. Whenever you're using Facebook for posts, do not think of it as a one time affair. That means you will have to think of something like teaser advertising, something like a full video, and something like a follow up plan, so that people remain connected to the central theme. Just like probably what Anubha is doing, that means once she has got Prism learning bits, that means it's a small bites, and then from that go on to the real video, which is the full mashup of these particular activities, and then probably a follow up which is coming much later in the year. So that's how you have a planned roadmap. Unless we have a planned roadmap, it becomes a very personalized kind of a one time post. It will not get you much consumer or much kind of acceptance or response from the people. So these are your Facebook marketing issues. And Facebook marketing always try to, of course, the three E's, that is excite, entertain, and educate. That's your basic content strategy for Facebook. Now, after this, I straight away moved to how we can look at COVID times, because COVID times is what is the crisis-oriented background for our all our lectures and all our activities here. So here we would like you to now use the chat box a little and suggest that COVID times implies what to you? When we say COVID or when we say this kind of corona lockdown issue, what is the words which come to your mind? And please use the chat box to share some of those words or some of those implications which comes to your mind. Anubhav, you can also look at the chat box right now. Let's see what comes to their mind.
Sure. So one is being safe.
Okay.
That's nice. Safe at home. Secure. Work
Secure.
from home. Challenges. Wearing mask. Hygiene. Okay. Great.
Great.
Webinars, definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah.
And opportunity to excel, reshape, reskill, reboot. Beautiful. I liked all the
Yes.
three R's. Learning time, staying safe, and upgrading yourself. Social distancing. I love we got a prism with the smiley. Thank you.
Prism.
Yes. Move
Candice is,
less often. Learning time. Okay. So, Shamsher, you want to know about see,
yes.
you can visit, actually go to the YouTube channel of Prism and subscribe yourself. Everything is visible there. Attending valuable webinars, definitely.
Correct.
Thanks for the good training all the time. Self introspection, patience, very nice. Okay, great. I think
Excellent. Excellent. Great.
yeah.
Good, good, good. So we've got so many implications and they all translate roughly. Let us say these are some of the words we have. So we have got uncertainty during the COVID times. There is fear, like you said, mask, lockdown, joblessness surrounding your work, financial losses for some, and online in various forms, because you've got Prism, you said you've got webinars, you've got training, and work from home activities. So what does these words evoke in terms of opportunity in your mind? So the opportunity could be stay home options. That means, do we have various options to stay at home? Food delivery for old and sick people, online learning options, investment planning options, and insurance providing options. Now, the question is that those implications which came to your mind, they need to be translated into these kind of opportunities. Now, this is what I need you to understand, that COVID has given to you certain situations, certain elements which has come to you in front of you. Those situations, those elements need to be translated to some kind of opportunity. These probably are some opportunities in front of you. But the question is that, does it make these opportunities convert into structural opportunity? Now, the word I'd used initially was structural, right? So these opportunities need to become structural. How? You send WhatsApp messages on mobile phones. There are many people doing webinars, so they are sending WhatsApp messages. Okay, there are many people doing online classes for children. There are many people who are doing home cooked food deliveries for elderly people in the societies. Now, sending WhatsApp messages or creating a website at this point of time, is it enough? Will it help us? I mean, will it help us getting a business? Will it help us to kind of have a business model which will give us profit? Will it convert into a structural opportunity? In, I don't think that is enough, right? So what do we need? We need something like a business model. Now here I would like to introduce first a concept, and then we will take your questions or we will try to debate the concept. Okay, so the concept here is that you've all heard of Airbnb, which is nothing but a stay away from home option. That means most of us who would like to go and stay abroad and do not want a hotel. Let's say a hotel is expensive. Hotel is not a home away from home. You don't like hotel food. Any of these reasons, people try to book Airbnb, let us say. Now, Airbnb question is a stay of home option. What did they do? They created a new market offering. They created innovation, they created structural opportunity, they created profits, they created company culture. So what is Airbnb all about? Now, Airbnb basically, as we all know, started with a concept where students could not afford hotels, right? And therefore when they went into the conferences, or they went into another city and they wanted an option to kind of stay over there, that is where the Airbnb people came in, and they said that we will offer you a home away from home. You can check into somebody's home who's offering a room with a bed and breakfast kind of a service for a certain amount of money, and you can stay. Now, my question to you is, suppose you are an Indian. and you are traveling to somewhere as far as, let us say, Denmark or Norway or even to America, and you are attending a conference, and you feel that you want the comfort of a home away from home for some few days, would you trust a particular stranger, a particular person who's staying away, to his home, and stay with him? And similarly, with the stranger, allow you from a third world country like India to come and stay and share his paying guest or his house or his attic or wherever he has made the accommodation. Don't you think that this kind of a concept is heavily built on the quotient of trust? Because it's not about money. It's not that the only guiding factor over here is money, you see, because there are plenty of cheaper motels or cheaper inns which are available, where you can walk in, right? So if I say that this is a business model which is built around trust and it is not built around the booking side, I would not be very wrong. So now give it a thought and look at the next side. Is Airbnb merely a website which is driven by a digital marketing exercise? Now, here again, I introduce to you another element and I say, think of something like Trivago, or think of something like Expedia, or think of something like a TripAdvisor. Now, when you go to TripAdvisor or you go to Trivago or you go to any of these sites, you are definitely looking at these sites for booking. So in your mind, probably Trivago is a booking site, right? It's a hotel booking site, or you are simply looking at Expedia as a comparison site, and you say that okay, I'm comparing the hotels and I'm booking over there. But that's a digital marketing exercise, right? Because digital marketing is all about a particular platform. So if it is not a social media platform, it is an e-commerce platform. It's a payment gateway. But is Airbnb a booking site? Now, you would like to say that yes, we go to Airbnb and book, but no, Airbnb is not a booking site. Airbnb is more than a booking site. Airbnb is about digital transformation. Now, this is where I want the audience to carefully listen, and here we can raise questions or you can think about it. Therefore, digital transformation is what which is more than digital marketing. Here we write it is creating an ecosystem for a market offering to grow and thrive like Airbnb business, okay, which is based on trust. Now, what is an ecosystem? So if the audience would like to question this particular idea, the most welcome to share. That means, what exactly do you think is the question over here, or what exactly is your idea of an ecosystem? What do you think is an? You can also, apart from Airbnb, those who are familiar with Airbnb can talk about that. If you're not familiar with Airbnb, you can talk about other methods, like let us say Milk Basket is there or Grofers is there. Do you think that they have transformed anything, or do you think they're merely websites, right? If I say merely websites, it's a different issue, right? So so let us see what is your opinion of an ecosystem. So let's see the participation. Ecosystem would mean what to you in case of Airbnb? Those who are familiar with Airbnb, what is an ecosystem? Or if the audience has a question, we're most welcome.
Okay.
If you disagree with this, you're most welcome.
Right.
We can always take it up.
Yes, definitely. So we request our audience to use the chat box and just share the ecosystem for Airbnb. I think you have given a very insightful thought, Soma. I actually want to
Yeah.
share, but I don't want to share. And so, okay, so we got a response. The experience they have given to the customer. I think the
Okay. Okay.
nice element. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see what other group members have to say on this. Digital transformation built by trust.
Yes.
Beautiful. Integrated various services, their value system.
Oh, value system is excellent.
Excellent.
That's
Yes.
really the thing. That's very nice. Value system is very important.
And trust emanates
Yes.
from user
User
experience. That's
experience.
also nice.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I think we've
So
got
I
the
think, yeah, I think the audience is understanding, therefore, that this ecosystem build-up, which is like coming from trust, coming from thing like, value system. These are the words which we are looking at. Is more than mere marketing. It's more than having a website. It is more than having a booking experience where you are just simply comparing rates or comparing other kinds of availabilities, facilities, one versus the other, and you are saying that, okay, I check into this hotel or I check into this motel. No, it is more than that. We are looking at an ecosystem. So now, suppose now I bring you to a very parallel thought. A parallel thought means, you all of us have heard, my friend has got positive notes to say: trusted, reliable, comfortable. Thank you, thank you. Yes. Now, there's a small thought I would like to share over here. This thought is that some time ago we had Prime Minister Narendra Modi talking about COVID times as being an opportunity. If you remember, and there was a lot of criticism which was surrounding this particular thought, and people said that COVID is basically such a negative thing which has happened to us, and it is a negative issue which is surrounding all of us. And in this kind of basically negative and bad, worse things which has happened to mankind with so many deaths and all, how can Prime Minister Modi talk about COVID being an opportunity? If you even see his speech, which was on the before Nirmala's Sitaraman's economic package was announced, he kept on talking about, let's make this into an opportunity. Then he started talking about reforms, and started talking about how it can reform India into a self-reliant structure, etc., etc. I would like to draw your attention to that and say that it is nothing but a digital transformation exercise that we are looking at, because it is nothing but a parallel system that we are trying to set up, in which we are saying that let's transform this whatever negativity we have come across, transform into a structural opportunity which is giving us the scope for some reforms. Because many people have said that probably Modi is using this as a handle to drive certain reforms, economic reforms in our country, which otherwise would not have been possible given the political scenario. That means, given so many hurdles, obstacles, given people opposing so much that he's doing, probably he's using COVID as a economic reform handle. That means he's got something now which can transform this particular Indian scenario, making it self-reliant, inviting companies, ease of doing business, etc., which were mere words, mere terminologies to the Indian audience so far. Suddenly, these terminologies or suddenly these words can make sense because we actually start building infrastructure, we actually start working from scratch. And the biggest example, which has come to you, biggest example in front of the audience today is migrant labor. Migrant labor is nothing but an ecosystem which is in need for terrible reform. Okay, it is crying out for reform. So look at the ecosystem which is now surrounding you. Your ecosystem is completely dependent on migrant labor. I mean, whether it's a factory in Noida, whether it's a factory in Lucknow, whether it's a factory in Muradabad, everybody is dependent on migrant labor, right? And if this migrant labor leaves, and as you can see what is happening in all the cities, you're completely handicapped for your work, handicapped for your business, for your supplies, procurement, everything. So if you have not nurtured your ecosystem, which is, say, the migrant labor, which has to cater to all your business requirements, to your personal requirements, and yet you are continuing to abuse that ecosystem, and it continues, grows, a time will come when that ecosystem falls apart. And when that ecosystem falls apart, there is nothing which can drive the business. So this is a very, very pertinent, example which we have in front of us, that different kinds of, this example which I'm giving is of course at a very macro level. That means it is not an individual business problem, it is not an individual specific business, a business house which is facing the problem. This example is at a very macro level, but same thing needs to translate to a micro level as well. That means similar kind of issues are faced by individual business houses, where the ecosystem has to go. For example, I'm again giving a digital transformation exercise. There was there was a business person here in NSEZ, Noida's special economic zone, and he was selling organic hair color. Hair color which is not L'Oreal, hair color which is organic and very much herbal based product. Now he told me that he was unable to sell this product in India because people would not trust him. They would say that, oh, isme koi milawat hai, and he has got this color from someplace. But when he sold this color to Paris and to Germany, and he sold this color to UK, and they tested, and they said that no, this is 100% organic. They accepted this product. And he made his money by exporting, but he could not sell it in India. So it was a very strange exercise. He said that my own countrymen could not believe me, but others outside India who were not my own countrymen, they could believe me, they could trust me, and they said that okay, we'll accept your product. So अंत में he said that after conquering the entire world, now I think when the people see that my product is selling abroad, now they have started accepting my product. Now they say that this must be a good product, and therefore they have started accepting. As you can now see in front of you, there is a brand called Kama Ayurveda, which is very successful in India. There is also a brand called Loctane, which is very successful in India. So they are like foreign brands coming to India. We are accepting them, we are giving them value. But if you go and want to buy a same kind of product from something like Fab India, etc., you'll think twice because it's an Indian or a homegrown product. Ecosystem is therefore what kind of trust you're developing, what kind of brand value, what kind of organic systems which you are developing, which can help your product to grow. So this is a digital transformation example which we are quoting, which is at a macro level as well as at a micro level. Now from here, we would like to move to now what is in store. That means what are the allied concepts. That means apart from digital transformation at a macro level, which is creating ecosystem, what are the allied concepts? So let us look at this. Long tail marketing for niche products like books and music. Now I don't know how many of you have heard of this term long tail marketing, but long tail marketing basically means, which is giving you a small understanding, that there are certain books and music, which are very much catering to only a very select small audience. Like for example, movies, which people like Ayushman Khurrana has probably made, like Article 15, which is talking about casteism, social discrimination, etc. It's a possibility that such kind of movies may not be a blockbuster like a Salman Khan movie. It's a small niche audience, right? Right. Now, that niche audience which he's catering to will not like to project in main platforms, but they can sell in Amazon, they can sell in Prime, they can sell in other kinds of digital platforms which are not expensive to store this product. Now, you have to understand that means that if I am retailing a niche product and giving it a lot of shelf space, it becomes expensive for the producer, right? But if I've got a niche product which is lying in a Amazon kind of a platform, which is like a digital platform, then it is not acquiring so much shelf space, it is not so expensive as a physical brick and mortar platform. Okay, what happens is such kind of products therefore can lie in the shelf for a longer period of time for a smaller audience. Whereas if you go into such products in a brick and mortar form, into a retail shelf space, then retail shelf space will not allow expensive product like that to lie for a smaller audience. We will need a large audience, a lot of volume to quickly pick up a product like that, and therefore release the space to something else which is coming. Now, long tail marketing has made it successful that over a period of time, we are able to sell niche products in platforms like Amazon, Retail Prime, etc., where these products are preferred by a smaller audience, but they're willing to pay a price for it, and the product will lie in the shelf for a longer period of time. So these kind of changes, which is happening in our digital space, are all part of transformation exercises. They're all part of the transformation exercises. That means we can, if suppose I'm in the business of marketing books and CDs and music, etc., or films, then I can take cues from these kind of things which are happening. Other example we have said is making friends and money. Like FB and Insta is actually about making friends, because they're social networking sites. So in Facebook, I have got social network, that means a lot of friends which are there. Insta, I've got a lot of friends. But if I am selling a product to my friends, then I am using FB and Insta to sell my product, right? So then it is making money from friends. Now, if you're trying to make money from friends, there has to be a methodology, there has to be a method, and that method is part of understanding digital marketing, because everybody cannot make money from friends. You have to see what are you offering, why should a friend buy from you, why won't he go outside and buy something? So making friends and making money. Next we come to how we have got tools and techniques like metrics. So somebody in the audience had asked that how do you manage the change which is which is happening, how do we accept that how many people have actually accepted a product, how many people have actually changed a product. So that kind of metric deployment is also part of tools and techniques which we can share. So these are all part of the larger picture, which is on digital transformation. Right now, we've just showcased to you a small picture, just like a trailer of what digital transformation can do. Now, we're open to questions from the audience.
If we have any query or question, please put it on the chat box. So maybe Soma, you can share also the programs that we are going to offer to the audience. You know, they
Okay.
are, yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe just
Yeah.
highlight.
Yeah, I'll just highlight some of the programs because this is what we have quickly put together for the audience. Signing up, what we have is discover the art of storytelling on social media. See, I am sure when you open Instagram or Facebook, you see they always say stories, Instagram stories or Facebook stories. And people often wonder that, okay, what kind of story can I share? It's just my pics, my personal pics or my family pics. So can it really talk about a story? So see, what they have done is they can put together a collage for you, if you understand, and they say that this is your story for a particular day, and they share it with you in the form of a presentation or a collage. But that is not going to help you with your business, right? You are thinking about a business which can grow, which can get consumers, which can get you profits, right? So for that, we have got a 1 hour training session, just a small mini trading session at basic, intermediate, advanced level, and that is on how to write your stories, what kind of collages you need, what kind of inputs are required, so that the storytelling can help you with social media. Making money from friends, like I just told you, that means please realize there is something called capturing value on social media. Capturing value basically means that if I've got paid advertising where I have actually paid for a banner or paid for an ad over there, then how do I get value out of it? What kind of returns I can expect from that? So that is capturing value from these friends which you have on FB. Now, biggest example on social capture value is, suppose I don't know how many of you are aware, they give you some of these coins. They give you the coins which are like gifts. So if you have done X amount of hours or X amount of likes or X amount of subscriptions, on this particular site, so they give you this value in terms of coins or in terms of gifts, etc., which you can use with your friends and buy gifts for them, etc. Now, those are very basic ways of how people integrate you to the system. That means you start in getting engaged with them, and you try to get more likes, you try to get more comments, you try to get more subscription. And when you reach a certain threshold of subscription, then they start paying you. And if you cross that level of subscription, you actually start getting business. That means you start getting ads for your things. So those are things we can do. Again, it's a small, short 1 hour training. Okay, a bigger training, a day-long certification is on the metrics, whereas metrics and measurement is something which is managerial. That means this is targeted at those people who are actually handling accounts. That means they're looking at digital media per se, where they've got accounts which they can handle. So social media metrics and how we deploy them. A complete 1 day, 6 hour training program from the morning 9 to 5, and that's a social media metrics session. Social media marketing in general. That means those people who do not know how to plan their social media, which media is good for me. Should I go for YouTube? Should I go for Insta, Facebook, Twitter? Which is a better media for me? And how to plan it? That means a video or a post, or is it a 15-minute video? It's a proper ad, commercials, etc. That's a day-long certification. And the other is how to get that influencer look and create a logo. That means you must have heard of this word called influencer. Influencer is the person who will kind of get you the contacts on Insta, that number of likes and the number of subscriptions. Now, if you have to your company, or if you don't hire an influencer, that means either you pay an influencer who comes and do your business, and if you don't want to hire, then you yourself has to become an influencer. So if your company has to become an influencer, then the company makeup has to change. That entire logo, the work has to go into the company. So that is again a 1 hour training. So as you can see in front of you, for those who are getting initiated into this topic, there is a 1 hour training. Those who are already into the topic and who have got accounts which they're handling, then for them, they've got a 1 day certification program.
Great.
So
Thank you so much, Soma, for helping us out. So I
yeah.
think we are, coming to an end of the session. So beautifully explained by Soma that how digital transformation is different from digital strategy, and how digital strategy is different from digital marketing. By understanding the use of technology to radically improve the performance or reach of of enterprises by leveraging the digital technologies to meet strategic objective either at an organization level or line of business level. And finally, marketing tactics used to attract, engage, and convert customer online. So with this note, thank you so very much. I hope you enjoyed our session. We have our next session, which is coming up on Saturday, and we really look forward for your, again, another engagement. So with that note, thank you so much. So if you've loved the session, we would really look forward for your small feedback on the chat box. So thank you so much. We've started really receiving amazing, a great method of using it, excellent session. Thank you. Well explained. Thank you so much, Anubha. A
Thank
lovely,
you.
great session, ma'am.
I want to
Some
thank
insight.
Anubha and Prism as well for giving this platform, for getting us together. That means all the audience and us together with Anubha. I really want to thank her and the audience. It was a lovely audience. It was been great, great interaction.
Great. So thank you so much. With this, namaste, and we look forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Virtual
so
hug
much.
from Prisma. Namaste again.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience.